Welcome to the Firewood Millionaire YouTube channel. First video. I've got this little bullet point list here just to try to stay on track. Tried this video more times than I'd like to admit, and either I don't like something I said or technical difficulty happens, and I got to shut it down and start over. So here we go. Just give it another shot. You're first probably wondering if I am a Firewood millionaire. The answer is no. Maybe you weren't wondering that because you think there's no such thing. But anyway, I am not. My thoughts are my own. You're welcome to comment, criticize, question, offer up new ideas, whatever. I appreciate it. If you're a jerk, just here to be a jerk, then I'm not going to engage. Probably just delete the comment. I don't know. I don't really like comment deletion YouTubers, but I don't know. If it's over the top, then I'm probably just going to get rid of it. Not interested. So I do currently live in Hawaii, which is the way it is properly pronounced, even though I have said it wrong for 41 and a half years. Hawaii, which you might catch me saying still, but I do live here, have been here for a couple years. And in Hawaii, see, I already said it wrong. There's a concept called island fever. Island fever is when you move here from the mainland, from the lower 48, and eventually get to a point where you feel like you're closed in. You feel like you're in a room and it's shrinking. Spent most of your life on the mainland. You can drive 4,000 miles and not see the same thing twice. Here, you can't do that. You're on an island, and you drove 4,000 miles here. You'd literally see everything probably 10 times each. Beautiful place to live, beautiful weather, mostly nice people. I mean, there are people from everywhere here, so, but very little road rage, if any, and courteous drivers. So that was a welcoming thing. But anyway, I have hit the point where island fever has taken over my life, and I'm ready to go. So one day, not too long in the past, I was driving down the road, going somewhere, and I'm like, man, I wish I was driving down a country road. East Coast style country road, because I actually live in what's called the country here. But I was driving down the road and I'm like, oh, I wish I was in the country. And whatever I did, I got finished. I turned around, went home and got Zillow out, got my laptop out, went to Zillow and did a search for, I think it was the entire country, lower 48 at least. And I Googled property over 20 acres, or not Googled, put in the search for Zillow, property over 20 acres. That's as low as you can, I wanted to do like 30, 40, something like that, but you can only do 20, and under $100,000. So not really expecting to find much. I clicked the search button and lo and behold, there's like 3 results came back. 2 of them were completely I think it was like Colorado and Arizona or something crazy. No, it probably wasn't Colorado, but I think it was like Arizona and New Mexico. I don't know. It was just something that I was not interested in. The other result out of the 3 that returned was in New York, in Western New York. And being that I'm originally from New York, I was good with that. I know what the geography is like. It was 3 hours from where I grew up, but it was a similar area as far as geography. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's not as built up for sure. It's definitely the boonies. But it was 30 acres for under $100,000, and had already had a price slashing or two. And I called the listing agent and put an offer in that night. It was daytime for me. It was like afternoon, but she actually answered the phone. It was I think it was 8 p.m. for her on a Sunday, which is not typical of me. I don't even think I realized it. I was just too excited, and I called her up. And she said, yeah, it's still, it's still available. Been on the market for a while, hasn't sold. And she just attributed that to, a lot of the properties there for sale are like hunting properties. So she just attributed it mainly to the owner was not interested in financing the property to somebody. And it is difficult to get a loan on a basically raw land. It did have a dairy farm. It was a dairy farm, for since like the early 1900s, I believe. It's a beautiful piece of property, in my opinion. So it does have a house that is really, really, really bad shape, foundation issues. I haven't looked too much at it. Wasn't a big deal to me. I was there for the land. I flew out there. It's got a couple barns also that are in disrepair. Like a tractor shed, like a farm tractor shed. The dairy barn has fallen down. But anyway, I flew out there within a few weeks, I think, by myself. No, I took my kids. My wife had to stay back and work. I took my kids out there, which is a very long flight. We stayed out there for a week. We visited the property, tried to talk myself out of it. Just sometimes it's easy to make decisions based on your feelings instead of sense. But I loved it. It was awesome. The kids liked it. And we ended up closing on it back in a couple months ago. I don't even know what month it is anymore. Anyway, so I could zoom that in just a little bit. I have real estate experience as a small-time investor. I've bought and sold several properties, had some single-family rentals, and some multifamily and small apartment buildings. So nothing crazy, but the way my brain works after doing that, I look at pretty much everything that's a significant cost. Can it pay for itself? Will it pay for itself? If I need it to pay for itself, can it? Kind of like there's no free ride for a piece of property. So if I just went out and spent $100,000 on property and it only cost me money, it was a liability to me rather than an asset, I'm pretty unlikely to buy it. If I can afford it and it doesn't matter, then that's one thing. But if I buy it and it feels like it's taking from me too much, well, I want it to be possible at least that it can produce some income to pay for itself. Break even at minimum. So that's how you do and look at investments. So why not look at this property like that? So next I had to come up with income ideas. What could I do to make this property contribute to the family? Make it pay for itself, at least pay the property taxes, So I came up with several ideas. I won't go too much into them, but I'm going to do some small scale farming there. Cattle is one thing I'm definitely doing. I love cows. Grew up around farms, worked on several, things like that. So it's always something I was interested in. Not really into growing produce or anything, but, may put up some greenhouses. I thought that I could buy some commercial greenhouses and maybe I could, make some money growing something. Farmers markets, you can direct to consumer kind of sales and that stuff. Thought of Airbnb type stuff. Maybe I can put some RV hookups in there, rent a couple RV spaces out. Maybe like a small dog boarding facility. I've got kids, so there's time they're old enough to start learning about how to make a living. Be entrepreneurial. And honestly, I didn't think of Firewood until about a month ago. It took me a while, slow learner. But I was like, maybe I could sell some firewood. And, I like firewood. It just kind of, again, have some notes here. Yeah, I just remembered firewood. I think a lot of people, after I started doing all my research and now I'm just binge watching YouTube videos, but, people that cut, stack, burn firewood, as a kid, you kind of remember that. You remember the smells, the picking up the wood as a kid and all that, and I enjoyed it. I'd help my grandfather, my uncle split the wood, and it was just good memories for me. I just used to remember being, thinking my grandfather was insane because, he'd put the log in the stove and stick his whole hand in there and move it around. I'm like, does this guy feel pain? He may not, though. He was a World War II generation, and I thought maybe he just doesn't. I didn't think that as a kid, but as an adult, it's different. But anyway, and so, I'm in that I'm in that mindset, like a lot of other people, is that it is therapeutic type of thing. And so my other experience in firewood is a little bit more business than the kid example, but not example, but the kid story. In 2013, I started a part-time landscaping business. And I was in Richmond, Virginia, so it was a decently long season. But you still had your 3 months or so of winter where you really don't do a whole lot of work. I didn't do yearly contracts, monthly contracts. I wasn't into that. I did work and immediately got paid for it, or got paid for the work and then immediately did the work. I wasn't into having that contract deal set up to where somebody's always behind and somebody's always ahead, right? So wintertime, the customer's paying and not getting anything. And in the dead of spring growth season and summer, the landscaper's doing all the work and really not getting paid for the same amount of work, right? You got to break it up over the 12 months. And I didn't really like that. But anyway, so as winter came, I'm like, what am I going to do? The money stops. I still want some money coming in. And so I decided on firewood, and it was pretty much too late at that point to get into it. And I didn't really know, what I would do. I mean, get some wood from customers, right? We'd frequently be asked to, if we could do tree removal, cut big limbs up that fell, storm type damage. And so, we could start selling that, and we did. Take it home, split it, sell it, but it was not that much. It was not a good supply. And so we'd contract jobs out to local tree service companies, and occasionally get some decent wood from that. Split that, sell that. But it wasn't really a lot, unfortunately. And I actually wanted to scale. I would have liked to scale that business, but I didn't have the room. I lived in a residential neighborhood, had a decent sized lot, but I don't think my neighbors would appreciate the full-time operation, full-fledged firewood business next door. And there's a little bit more to my firewood experience after that, but I'm not going to share that just yet. I will in a future video. And so what I did next was do my initial research for a firewood business. And I started on Google. And I'm going to show you what I did. I Googled, can you make money selling firewood? And this is where I landed. And you can still see that I clicked on this particular Reddit post. I don't even think I went past that. Firewood for extra money, waste of time? Question mark. And so I kind of scrolled through here and read Mr. Organ Meat. Well, could be Mrs. Organ Meat. Organ Meat says, I don't really understand how people make money at selling firewood. At the end of the day, you are not paying yourself very much for your time. That's for sure. You're going to start selling it. A splitter is the only way to go. Unfortunately, that is a substantial cost that may or may not offset any profits you would have made. Lane Card Holder says, it can be worth your time if your time is worth less than $1 an hour. Don't forget, once the wood is split, you most likely have to deliver it. You need a splitter and now a dump truck. Unless you have a commercial logging company, splitting and selling cordwood can be a hobby. I know that is a favorite word of some people in the YouTube firewood content creating community. I think there's even like a little jingle that gets played when that word is mentioned. Selling cordwood can be a hobby that might pay for itself, but probably not. I tried harvesting, splitting, and delivering cordwood, but quit after realizing how much more money I could make doing practically anything else. I still split my 5 cords a year by hand and help out neighbors with a log length cordwood, but as a standalone business, it is not very profitable. The campfire bundles can be profitable, as someone else mentioned, if you live close to an area with a lot of camping and outdoor tourism. Many foresters and loggers I know say firewood is only profitable if you handle the wood only once. I think that is a popular topic too. If you enjoy splitting firewood, do it. Good exercise outdoors, but don't expect to make any money. If I didn't mention it, I live in a noisy area, and I do have a heavy noise suppression filter on this microphone that I stole from my kids. This is not mine. I bought it, but it's not mine. OPCN, it pays more than watching soap operas, but not much more. A quart of live oak in my area is $200. That's a lot of wood to split for $200. It might be worth your time to sell some to family and friends if you have a hydraulic splitter, but don't bother pursuing a real side hustle with it. And something Willy Wong says, mindless one, wasteful, shy, close, snobbish, vanish, worry like gold. Might be the smartest person there. I don't know. All right. So I saw that and I'm like, this all doesn't sound great. Maybe I am going to waste my time. So next I went to Facebook Marketplace, which I am not going to do now. But I searched the area that I'm going to be living in. And I saw the average price was about $65 per face cord, which I'm used to cords. I lived in Richmond, Virginia, so I dealt in in cords there in the past. So it's hard for me to adopt the face cord terminology, but that's what it sold for there. So it's like $65 a face cord, 100, what's that, 195? $195, I think, a cord. So I'm like, that sounds crazy low to me. So I better do some more research, you know? So, and it was pretty much everybody was selling it for that price. There might be some a little higher, a little lower. But typically it was 65. I think I saw 55 to 70, I want to say, was the range. So I have concluded, and I coined this term. I've never seen it. I finally have coined a term. The firewood pricing epidemic. I think 100% this is an issue. You know, it's not only the Facebook Marketplace stuff I saw. It's not only the Reddit stuff Reddit post I saw, but forums and YouTube. I really can't believe the amount of people on YouTube making videos about firewood. It's pretty cool. I don't think that was going on when I was in the landscaping business, because I did a fair amount of firewood research back then. I don't remember much of it, but I don't remember seeing, there was plenty of landscape channels watching people mow lawns, but man, there's a ton of those now too. So it's nothing like it was 10, 11 years ago, but it's pretty cool to see that there's such a firewood YouTube community. All right, so next, after I got pretty discouraged at seeing the pricing for the firewood in the area I was going to be and the negative comments, and that I could make more money watching soap operas than firewood. My grandmother would probably be proud of me if I did that. My late grandmother. But I'm going to take a quick drink of water. So, I had some work to do. I had to figure out if it was going to make financial sense to even try. And again, I was sold cords in Richmond, Virginia for $300 10 years ago. I couldn't believe that I was going to have to sell them for $195 where I'm going. So I got onto my trusty Google Sheets account. Google Sheets, if you don't know, is basically the same thing as Microsoft Excel. So I got on there and started to make a spreadsheet. How many cords do I have to sell? How much is it going to cost me? What's the equipment going to cost? How much? Blah, 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 blah. And I came to the realization that if people are selling cords of firewood for $180, $190, $200, they're not making money. And there's plenty of them out there. I'm like, there's no way they're making money. There's absolutely no possible way, I'll say, with the exception of maybe a few, that they're making money. So I'm like, maybe I could share this Google Sheet with others and maybe be part of some positive change in the industry if I choose to get into it, which I'm going full bore. But So I'm thinking I could share the Google spreadsheet. And then I'm thinking, who wants to see a Google spreadsheet, especially made by somebody else? That's hard to look at. I know I like spreadsheets and I can't stand looking at them. They just remind me of like 1990s. But anyway, during that same time, I was working on some other things to get my business going. You know, I can't do much from where I'm at, except whatever I can do on a computer. So got my LLC, you know, I can do my research online, pricing research, plan out, that kind of thing. And I can build a website. So, and by the way, my favorite thing in business is applying technology to it. So the website was a non-negotiable for me. I started building out the website and I'm like, how many people in Firewood have websites? I really haven't done much research, but I did a little bit, and there's not many. And that's obvious. And it was like that for landscaping too. And I had a killer website for my landscaping business, and it was the biggest asset of the business. And I will put it this way, that when I sold the business, the buyer paid for the website more than anything. It was incredible. It's still operating. It's on its third owner, which is sort of unheard of. Most landscaping businesses are even, you know, sole proprietor type, local business, blue collar kind of things. They just die when the owner's done. You know, they don't get sold typically. And there's plenty that do, but I created my business to sell it. There's a book called Built to Sell, and I don't even think I read it. I just read like the summaries online and stuff. You know, it's basically the summary is build your business to sell it. Build it as if someday you're going to have to sell it. So that's what I did from, I wouldn't say from day one, but once I quit my job and decided I was going to do landscaping full time, I pretty much did it from day one. So anyway, I'm just kind of started building a website out for Firewood business. And I'm like, not many Firewood business websites out there. I can almost guarantee it. Maybe I could help or provide a service, kind of building websites for other Firewood businesses. So I started on another project in that aspect. I'm not going to, no spoiler alert here, but I will be launching it soon. And I think what I'm going to do is launch it on the date of the 2025 International Firewood Expo that I just saw, I think yesterday morning. The date was announced there, and never been. Sounds like a lot of fun, and it'll be in driving distance for me. So why not go, and why not introduce this other project that I'm building for the firewood industry. So this is just the way my brain works. I can't stop. I can't stop it. You know, I'm entrepreneurial. I see a problem. I try to attack it. And sometimes it's a curse. Sometimes it's a blessing. For me, I think it's a net positive. But so, and that wasn't the light bulb moment. So I had got all this stuff going on. My mind is always just working. And I'm like, oh, if I provide this other product, service, software to the firewood industry, I have to get customers for it. I have to get people interested in it that sell firewood. And so what if I took this Google sheet and made it easy to use. So people could figure out how to price their firewood. If, maybe they're doing fine. That's cool. It's not for everybody, but maybe they want to double check. If I could share this Google Sheet with others, in exchange for their email address, which is known as a lead magnet, if you don't know, in the online or business marketing, online marketing world, it's known as a lead magnet, right? Then I could start to develop a potential customer list, a list of people who are interested, prospects, and maybe they'll like the other project I'm working on, and they'll be updated on it and know when it comes out, and I could just email them and say, hey, this is ready, you want to check it out? So I decided to take this Google spreadsheet, turn it into a modern, easy to use, website-based calculator, and then I put it behind an email gate. So I'll tell you how to get it if you like it, if you want it. And all you got to do is type your email address into a field, which everybody's done that before. Not going to sell your email. I'm not going to do anything with it except email you and tell you, hey, this product is ready for the industry. Do you want to try it? Maybe some video updates here if I do anything here that's worth sharing, which I don't know if I will. But so yeah, you can put a fake email. That's fine. You'll still get the calculator. If you're interested, put your real one in, and I'll keep you posted. I think I did a pretty good job there, telling you that not only am I starting a firewood business, but that I have something else for the industry. And if you knew a little bit more about this story here, the part I didn't really get into, my firewood sales when I had my landscape business, you'd understand, but we're trying really hard to not spoil it. All right, where are we? So I just want to get this out of the way real quick. I look at the firewood business. I gotta take a drink real quick and check my phone. But let me take a drink. I look at the firewood business, and I think it's unique. There's other businesses like it, I'm sure, but I think it is unique in that it is, if you, let's say you buy logs, triaxle load of logs, you process it into firewood, and then you deliver it. I look at that as two completely separate and different businesses. They are not alike at all. Generally, in business, you have two categories. You have product businesses and you have service businesses, and they operate differently. And so to me, the firewood processing in itself, meaning you pick a log up, you put it on a processor, a splitter, whatever, and you turn it into firewood ready to be delivered, that's a product business. That is not a service business. That is a product business. But now when you put it in your dump trailer and you take it to the customer and you offload it, that's a service business. It's not a product business. It's a delivery service business. So that's how I look at it. And I think you have to look at it that way on paper. I'm not saying you have to have two businesses. I'm just saying you have to look at it on paper like that to get your true or very accurate numbers of cost to do business. So therefore you can price your product. You can price your product and you can price your deliveries separately. That's separate. Now, if you add in that you source your own raw material, you're the logger also, right? So you're going into the woods, you're cutting down trees, you're bucking them up, you're skidding them, whatever. You're loading them in your trailer, and then you're bringing them back to your wood yard to process. I look at that as a separate business. You can do all three, but I look at that as a separate entity. When you're coming up with your numbers, right? You literally have 3 different businesses if you do all 3. I'll definitely talk more about that later. So I just wanted to throw that out there. All right, I am going to finally take you to the calculator overview. Okay, here it is. Again, I will tell you how to get this eventually, but you got to suffer for a while. But again, I've made this as easy as I possibly could. And it started out much simpler than this, actually. And I was like, I gotta make it better. I gotta make it better. And I get into that, like a lot of people probably do. You try to make it perfect, and you never release it. So, you got that saying, perfect is the enemy of great. If you never heard it, now you have. I am aware when I'm going too far, so I got to stop, and you got to get the product to the customer and go from there. So, and just to use that in the firewood business, like you could say, I'm starting a firewood business. I need to do this. I need to get my LLC. I need to build a website. I know that's probably the last 2 things on most people's minds, but it should be the first in the top 5. Get my LLC and get my business and build my website. Oh, my website's ugly. It doesn't look good. I make it perfect. I got a dump trailer. I'm painting my dump trailer. Doesn't look good. Oh, there's something else with the dump trailer I got to fix for, it's just stuff like, I'm not saying safety stuff, but I hope I can getting my point across is that if you're planning to start a business, you got to just go. You got to get it out there. Minimum viable product. You got to be careful of trying to make things perfect. And again, it's probably hard to relate that to the firewood business, but it's just a typical business startup issue. If you are starting a business, just be aware of it. Let me go back to all right, we're good. All right, so hopefully this calculator does not look too intimidating. Certainly better not be intimidating if it has a Google spreadsheet. But just so you know, only one of these was here yesterday. Two out of 5 of these buttons. So I have added some more features to it today. I actually had this video pretty much done yesterday. I was just going to finish it up today and mash the 2 video clips together. And then I decided to go crazy and do more to make it more helpful for more people. And it's free. It's totally free. Unless you count your email, the trade. So all you do is start here at the top where it says add items in the left menu. Click plus chords a year. Oh, and if you feel more comfortable with face chords, click this face chord button. And it will just change all the terminology to face chords. I like chords better for some things, and I honestly like face chords better for some things, but we're going to use chords for all these examples. All right, so in here you can either put how many chords you did last year, how many chords you did this year, how many chords you're going to do, how many chords you're going to do this year, how many chords you want to do, how many chords you want to do in 10 years, whatever your goal is, play with the numbers, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But let's use 100 for this business. We're going to do I put it on here, and we're going to do the first example is like a startup, like a low cost, lean startup. Maybe don't have a lot of money. I'm thinking just got a Lowe's credit card, got approved for $5,000 maybe, and want to start a firewood business. So let's say, you feel comfortable that you could do 100 chords in a year. And just add that, and then up here you'll see that it populated here. If I produce 100 chords per year, my cost to produce 1 cord of firewood is currently $0 because we haven't added any expenses. All right, so next thing we're going to do is come down to the second item on the left menu under Add Items and click Add Raw Material. And so for this first example, we're going to do that you are purchasing firewood poles from, a logging company or whatever, and having it delivered. So I've done a lot of research on this. I've never done it, but done a lot of research on it, and at least in the area I'm going to be in, I think I feel comfortable with 1,000. I've seen them for $850, $950, 1,000, a little bit over, but I feel comfortable that is close enough. Cost per loads, I don't know, but thankfully there's people that share this information on YouTube. And I've heard/read anywhere from 5.5 cords per triaxle load. And yeah, you got the difference of how the truck is set up and all that. And I've heard as much as 8. So I pick a number in the middle and I do 6.5. So you can see now that we have $153.85 per cord raw material cost. And so now up here, it also says if I produce 100 cords per year, my cost to produce 1 quart of firewood is $153.85. So when I first did my Google spreadsheet, this is exactly how I did it. It wasn't this pretty, but this was the first number I got. And I'm like, $153. And they're being sold for $180? And we haven't even added any other expenses in. So it shocked me, actually. You may say, well, I can get them for 800. I get 8 cords out of the whatever. I can do better. That's fine. But I feel very comfortable using this number for another reason. Well, actually, this solidified it. At least solidified my 153.85 per cord number. I watched a video the other day on YouTube. It was fed to me every day, and I refused to watch it. It was Hometown Acres YouTube channel. I believe his name is Adam. And he was talking with / kind of interviewing Matt, the owner of the Firewood guy. And they're both they're not going to be too far. I think they're 2 to 3 hours away from where I'm going to be. But I did know, they're kind of close. And the title of the video was something like How Accountants Buy Equipment. So they both were in the accounting field before Firewood. And so Matt shares a spreadsheet on there, which, again, I'm thankful for it. I don't think it's any big secret. He'd mentioned, he wasn't sharing any secrets, I think, but, all you got to do is buy some loads of wood and see how much cord you get out of it. So it's not that crazy of a secret, but assuming his numbers were accurate on the spreadsheet, as far as, he didn't change them for the video, he had a cost, I believe, of $12.50 per load in there. And he had a yield of, I hope I'm right, 7.67. And so as you can see, that's $162.97 per cord, which is only $10 more than what I had when I guesstimated $1,000 per load and 6.5 cords per load as a yield for finished product. And I think he had mentioned that he does it on every load. So when you do this kind of thing, it's just data points. If you if you buy 10 of them and you get 6.5, but then you do it 9 more times and now you have 100, you've purchased 100 loads and you kept track of every time how many finished cords split cords you got out of each load, this number is going to be more accurate. And that's why you see he has 7.67, So in my opinion, if this is the way you're doing business and you're serious about it, you need to keep track of every single load you get, period. But anyway, made me feel more comfortable about my number. Again, we're in a different area. I think he's definitely in a more, I'm going to be in the boonies. I think he at least has access to customers who are, more of the high-end residential. He's delivering with a fancy trailer and customized machine to drive the pallets to the, which is really cool to see. But just I'm not going to be delivering to people who are going to be needing that type of service in the area I'm going to be in. So my point of saying that was that his raw material cost could be a little bit higher. So, just location wise. All right. So next thing you do, come down to the third button on your menu and click add equipment. And here you can add any piece of equipment you need to process the firewood. So again, this is like a business startup. Let me take a drink quick. This is a startup business, and let's just say you got $5,000 to start up. Maybe you got a Lowe's credit card, maybe you got a little cash, a little extra cash. But let's just assume you have nothing. You need to buy some equipment. I've already pre-selected some equipment just to save time. I basically picked some in-stock items at wherever this Lowe's is, West Amherst. I don't know where it is. I just picked a random location. I don't remember what I typed in. So let's take this log splitter, this Boss 27 ton, $1,500. Let's add some tax. Let's add some miscellaneous nonsense, and let's call it $2,000. Or maybe you bought a different one for $1,800 that they had there that was on sale. It was $2,500 retail. But let's say we're going to do, let's say $2,000 for a splitter after tax and all that. We'll just say a splitter. Purchase cost $2,000. Annual maintenance on something like that, maybe it's $150. You put 100 cords through it. You're probably gonna have something break. Let's say you're only going to get a year out of it just to be cautious. And at the end of that year, maybe you blew the motor and it's worth a couple $100 to the neighbor who knows how to rebuild small engines. So we'll use that as an example. And you'll see now we have a cost per cord for the splitter. And you will also see up here that now this number has changed from $153.85 for our raw material, has now added in the $19.50 a cord to come up with a total cost per cord to produce each cord of $173.35. Now I'm like, okay, these people are selling cords for $180, $190, $200, whatever. And they're not doing it with zero equipment. They have something. And they're not splitting 100 cords a year by hand. I mean, I guess somebody out there could. My hat's off to you. So, yeah, we got a splitter and raw material, and we're already at $173 per cord for cost over 100 cords. So I don't know how people are selling it for $180. All right, but we need some other equipment. We need a chainsaw. We're getting our Lowe's credit card out. We're going to Lowe's and we're buying this pre-selected Husqvarna 545 Mark II 20-inch chainsaw. $639. We're going to add in tax. We're going to add in chaps. You might have to go to a different store for that. I don't know if Lowe's has them, but hearing protection. Actually, I'm going to look up, does Lowe's carry chaps? They probably don't carry them in stock. You probably have to order them or something, but here's how much. Okay. We got a homeowner chainsaw chap. You know what? I like this. This is good. It gives us something to go off of. 100. All right. So another $200. So we're getting that. We're going to get chainsaw. 200, 639, 739, 839 plus tax. We're just going to say $1,000 to get your safety equipment and your saw. Annual maintenance, let's say, is 150 on the saw. We are not including fuel. We are not including chains. We're just including things like maybe get it serviced, carb cleaned, whatever. If you have a fuel injected saw now, you put that, I wouldn't know the first thing about those. I could clean a carburetor, but I don't know if I could. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable messing with a fuel injected saw just yet. But anyway, you bring it into the shop once a year, twice a year, and get it serviced. I don't even know if you could do it for $150 anymore. It's probably more like $250. But anyway, we're going to kill this saw in a year, and after a year, we're selling it to the neighbor again, and he's going to rebuild it, and he's going to start his own business with your old splitter and your old chainsaw. All right, so we got some basic equipment here. I'm not adding in a tractor, a skid steer, a forklift, a truck, a trailer, none of that. This is just a simple business. This calculator can handle pretty much anything you throw at it, I believe. But we're just a startup here. And this is just for a production business. We're not delivering. And we're not sourcing the raw materials. We're just splitting. That's it. All right. So let's go to the next item after equipment. On the left side is overhead. And here you can add a lot of different things. Let's say you have rent. Let's say you're doing 500 cords a year, and you're looking at this calculator like, what else can I do with this? Well, maybe you want to rent, you're getting too big and you want to rent a lot, somewhere else that can handle bigger equipment and things like that. Put some rent in here. You can just type in rent. I'm not going to use it for this example, but I'm just showing you. Let's say it's $400 a month. You can pick monthly or yearly, and it'll pop out a number there for you. Delete that. Let's go back into it. But let's say you're starting your business and you have to get insurance. I don't recommend anybody do anything really without insurance these days. Especially if you're just processing, that's fine. But if you're delivering, which you most likely will be, you're going to want some liability insurance, probably. Insurance. Cost. I haven't purchased liability insurance for a business like this in a long time. Landscape business price similar. I think back then it was like $600 a year. So let's say I'm sure the prices have gone up. Let's just say $750 a year for liability insurance. So that gives us $750 a cord. Let's see. Overhead can be insurance, licensing if you need to get a business license. A lot of that stuff is one time. Well, if it's one time, I just wouldn't add it because it's the calculator actually couldn't handle that. That's probably the one thing it can't handle is a one-time fee, just because we're basing this per cord, and you can put it in there and just put it's good for 100 years, and it would be like a half a cent per cord, so it doesn't make a difference really. But if you have, I think I've lived in a town before where you get to buy a business license every year and renew it every year. And on top of that, paid percentage of your money, but it couldn't handle that either. That's ridiculous. But yeah, let's say you have to get let's say LLC. I've lived in a state once where the LLC was like $150, but they charged you $50 renewal every year. So something like that I would put in if it's a recurring charge. So that gives us 50 cents if you have something like that. Maybe you have QuickBooks program. Maybe, some kind of accounting program if you're actually keeping track of all your numbers, which you should. You pay taxes. You should, I think. I don't want to pay taxes and somebody else doesn't get to pay taxes. So you could add in, what do you call it? What did I just say? QuickBooks. So, maybe you got the $99 a year deal. You get the point. You got a website, put your website hosting in there, $15. Let's do that though. Let's not get too crazy. Not for this example, at least. All right. Next menu item you have is labor. So let's add some labor. And this is where I come back to Reddit and organ meat. I don't really understand. I'm just going to read it again because it's important. Organ meat is onto something. I don't really understand how people make money selling firewood. At the end of the day, you're not paying yourself very much for your time. That's for sure. Okay. So I agree with organ meat that there's no way people are paying themselves for their time. So now we're going to do that. Type in labor. And then we have to figure out a cost per cord. How much are you going to pay yourself to produce a cord of firewood? And it has to be reasonable. Can't be low and can't be high. It has to be what the market would pay you for labor. If you want to price your firewood correctly, if you want to be accurate, if you want to be, in my opinion, I'm don't want to ruffle any feathers really, but you have to do this if you want to consider yourself a real business, if you want a business that you're going to be proud of, I think you should be proud if you know your numbers. Can you ever be exact? No. Down to the penny? Probably not. Down to the dollar? Probably not. Within $10, $20? 10? I don't go too high. You should be proud of that. You feel confident. You feel comfortable. You go to bed at night saying, I'm doing the best I can. Got my firewood priced based on my cost to produce it. Anyway, so how do we figure out this number? It takes a little bit of work. And this is how you do it. You buy a load of logs. You have them dropped off. Every single time you go out there to cut the amount of firewood that you do per day, let's say you do a cord a day, up to 100 cords. You have to time yourself. A stopwatch, phone timer, whatever, your watch. You have to time yourself from the second that you get to work, right? If you're splitting firewood in the backyard, I consider you get to work. There's some point in your backyard that, or in your fire, wherever, your wood yard, whatever you want to call it, there's a point that you should consider yourself at work. There's a line you step over, an imaginary line. Hell, put a real line. Paint a little stripe on the grass. When I step over this line, I'm at work. You hit your timer. You go split a cord of wood. If you stack it, stack it. If you dump it in a bin, dump it in a bin. If you put it in a heap and pile, put it in a pile. And when you're done, you hit the timer. Clean up, do your maintenance. If you do like a daily, check your machine's oil, fill your fuel, tinker with your phone, whatever you normally do it. And when you're done, hit the stop button. and take that amount of time. Let's say it's 2 hours for one cord. And you know you got one cord. I don't care whether you stacked it or, whatever. You know you got pretty close to a cord. And it took you 2 hours. Go do that same thing for the next 5 days. Write down your time every time. Do it for 10 days. I personally think you should do it every single time. The more data points you have, the closer you will get to an accurate number. And what that number is going to be is the average. Okay? So, I'm going to jot some numbers down. Give me a second. Six. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. I had to write these down because I know I won't be able to remember them all. Okay, so first time you go out there, it takes you 2 hours to split. And if this isn't accurate for you, that's fine. You just use your numbers. I'm just making things up. Okay, 2 hours. Next time you go and do it, it takes you 3 hours. You add 3 to the 2. Keep a running tally. Next time you go and do it, 2.5 hours. Add 2.5. Next time, we got 3.5. This just could be for whatever reason. You got to sharpen your chain more on this particular load. You got to, got to get mud off the logs if you can before you cut it. Whatever. Next time you go and do it, it's 2 hours. Next time is 1.5. You had a good day that day, just cranking it out. Next day is 6. Maybe you had a breakdown. Maybe, whatever. Something didn't go right. Next time was 2. Add 2. Next time was 3. Add 3. The next time was 1.75. That's a cord a day for 2 weeks. That's all you got to do. Start your watch. Stop your watch. Write it down. At the end of 2 weeks, or 10 loads. If you do 2 a day, then, if you normally do 2 a day, you don't have to do them as separate cords. You can do them all together as long as that's what you normally do. All right. And then you get the total. And that was 10 data points, 10 entries. You get the average, divide by 10. And you get 2 points on average. It takes you 2.72 hours to produce a load of firewood, to produce a cord of firewood. And again, if you stack it, do that. If you don't. Dump it, whatever you do. All right. And I would even say try it different ways. If you don't stack it, I believe in stacking. When you think about it, when you think about stacking, it's not the purpose of the video, but when you think about stacking from a business perspective, from a time perspective, it makes no sense. Like, it just seems like such a waste of time. But when you look at the pros from stacking it, which I believe to be accurate measurement, I think that's number one. I know you can load up your dump trailer and if you fill it 8-10 inches over the top that you're going to be right at a cord, and that's great. Face whatever, that's fine. I think it's a valid argument. But for me, I would rather know. I just rather be more accurate. That's just me. So I'll be stacking. But from like when you think about the extra labor involved, it is on the surface. It does look ridiculous. It does sound kind of stupid. And I thought the same thing, but then I did my research, and I came to the conclusion that stacking is better. And I do like the bins. The IBC totes are, I think, helpful for getting away from stacking. If that's your It's what you're doing. But piling it any bigger than what can fit an IBC tote and leaving it there, I just can't see it being a good product. And maybe ruffled some feathers saying that just now. Who am I to say anything? But I'd be afraid of the. It just wouldn't dry even. It wouldn't dry out evenly, in my opinion. But anyway, that is a whole nother topic, and I'm so sorry if I ruffled any feathers. But it sounds great. Like if I could have my way, I would process it and leave it in a heaping pile. Absolutely. A cone, whatever you want to call it. Makes sense. But anyway, if you do it, use that as your time. I'm not here to change your mind on how you operate. Just here to change your mind on how you price if you need your mind changed. All right, so we got 2.72. We got 2.725 hours on average per cord, but we still don't have a cost per cord. How do we get that? We come up with an hourly rate that you're going to pay yourself. And that hourly rate cannot be $100 an hour. It cannot be $75 an hour. Cannot be $50 an hour. Probably cannot be $40 an hour. It can't be $5 an hour. It can't be $10 an hour. Probably can't be $15 an hour. Maybe could be $20. Maybe $25. Maybe $30. Somewhere in there. Why do I say that? Because you have to pay yourself what you would pay somebody else to do that same work. Nobody's paying somebody $100 an hour, come in and split firewood. Nobody. Number one, the market wouldn't be able to handle that pricing. Number two, there'd be a lot more people signing up to split firewood. But you have to pay yourself what the market would pay somebody to do that job. You are a business owner. You can be both owner and employee. That's owner operator. You can do that. But when you're doing owner things, you get paid as an owner on paper. When you're an employee, doing employee things, doing lower skilled things, you pay yourself on paper as an employee. And you can take it all, but this is how you price your firewood accurately to make sure you're making a profit. All right. So 2.725 an hour. And let's just say would you pay somebody $20 an hour to come in and do all your work, and you go sit inside? Or you go drive around in the country, or you go hunting while your employee is there processing the wood? You don't have to answer these questions. You can be that person that does it all. You just have to pay yourself what the market would pay you on paper. All right, so we're going to say $20 an hour. Do 25 if you want, whatever. But remember, the higher you do, the higher you go here, the more cost per cord. So let's go 20. Take this number, your average, multiply by 20. And if you want to grow it to the point where you have employees and you're going to do business the right way, which I 100% believe you should do, and that's where a lot of extra costs can come from in business. Workers' comp, employee taxes, FICA, whatever they call it, Social Security, all that stuff, gets paid. Well, some things come out of the employee's check, but workers' comp gets paid by the employer. So you pay somebody $20 an hour, maybe you're actually paying them $24 an hour out of your pocket. So there's that to consider too. But let's say on average, paying $54.50 a cord. And now, as you see, we're up to $247.34 per cord. Cost. And there's people out there selling it for $180. It does not make sense. I can't make sense out of it. It almost turned me away from even thinking about doing the firewood business, but I'm insane. So I like a good challenge. And that challenge might be selling $300 cords in a market that it's sold for $180, $190. I don't know. We'll see. What do we got next here? Labor. All right. And then we come down here to the last item is other. Other you can use for fuel, chains. Those are probably the two biggest things. Oil filters, maybe you probably use that under the maintenance, but whatever you feel is necessary to fit in here. And how do you get this number? Well, you do the same thing. You got to take the time to take the measurements and do it all at once. When you're taking those 10 times on your cords, how long it takes you to produce a cord. Also, take a measurement on how much fuel you use between your splitter and your chainsaw. Takes a few extra minutes, a pen and a piece of paper, and a calculation that you can literally get done online. You don't even have to do the math. You don't have to remember math. You don't even have to know how to use a calculator. All you got to do is use ChatGPT, which is not the best thing in the world, but it's pretty awesome. So let's even do that. Let's go to Boss Industrial, our splitter, find specifications. There we go. And see if we can find the fuel capacity. Hydraulic tank fuel capacity, 1 gallon. All right. So let's say you go split a cord of wood. You put exactly 1 gallon in there. Maybe don't fill it up because it probably has a little extra room in there. Measure out 1 gallon. It's brand new. There's no gas in it. Start fresh. Go get you a gallon jug, fill it to the max line, and pour it in there. Go split your cord or your 2 cords or whatever. Let's use a cord. Go split a cord. Pull the hose off the bottom of the, it sucks, but your hands might smell like gas, whatever. Pull the hose off the bottom of the fuel tank and run it back into the jug. You might even need a measuring, something that's accurate. And then do the math. And I'll show you. Let's see. Put this right here. Chat GPT. I know everybody's probably heard of it now, and I don't know what that is. AI. They're going to take us out one day and kill us all. It's possible. But while I'm here, if it can help me, I'm going to use it. I'm going to learn about it. I'm going to not be, I'm not going to be closed-minded if there's something out there that can help me build my business. So let's see. ChatGPT. I'm going to go to only because I use this so frequently that if I click on it, it will probably ruin my video because it will show some of the other things that I use it for, and we use it for another business. So it's not information I want to share. So we'll just use a different browser. It's going to take a second here to load. I'll take a drink real quick. Hope everybody's enjoying the video. I've put a lot of work into this, and hope I'm not wasting my time. I could be watching soap operas. All right, try ChatGPT. Okay. So let's say all you got to do is say, my log splitter, don't even have to say that. You can say gas tank holds 1 gallon. I used it to split 1 cord of firewood. It used, you don't even need to spell right. It used, let's say you measured it out and you had a measuring cup. I think you need a measuring cup. I mean, you could guesstimate, but you want to be exact, man. That's my opinion. Got to get as close as you can. And especially if, look, for somebody like me who is going to be up against $180 cords, I really need to be exact. If you're selling it for $600, yeah, you can get away with a little. You can get away with not being exact, right? Because it could be make it or break it kind of thing for me. Let's say let's say we had a gallon jug that also measured in ounces. I used it to split 1 quart of firewood. I had, what the heck just happened? I don't want that. I don't know what just happened. All right. I have a log splitter that holds 1. Why does it keep, what am I hitting that's doing that? My fat fingers. My fat fingers are hitting something. Crap. Try this again. I felt it that time I hit something with my pinky. I'm not a good typer. Google. I didn't ask for Google. Bear with me here. This is important because some of these things are the reason why nobody knows this stuff, because they don't want to do the work to do it, and you literally don't have to do anything anymore. You could use this as an app on your phone, and I'm pretty sure you can just click the microphone button and say it into the microphone. What is going on here? Oh, I didn't mean to google.uk. I'm using that might be why. I'm using a VPN, so it doesn't know where I am. It looks like it thinks I'm in the UK. Yeah, I bet you that's what's happening. All right, let's go to, again, I just don't want to load my personal stuff in there because I'm probably logged in. And if I do, I'll have to stop the video and I'll be highly irritated if I have to start again. All right. Okay. Geez, come on. All right, there we go. All right. I have a log splitter that holds 1 gallon of gas. After splitting 1 cord of firewood, I dumped out the gas and measured it to be 34 ounces. How much gas did it use? Enter. No question mark. Look at that. All right, it's going to do all the actual formula. It's going to look like you're in math class. All we care about is what happens at the end here. It used about 0.734 gallons of gas, okay? I paid $4.23 for the gallon. How much per cord? All right, this is how easy. This is crazy easy. The gas, wait, hold on a second. So you got to check on this thing. It thinks I'm paying 4.23 cents per gallon. That's my fault because I didn't specify. Sometimes you got to specify and then yell at it a little bit. You should have known that. You don't know how much gas is, chat BG? All right. All right, so there we go. Got the answer here, and just got to check on, make sure everything sounds right. This is more reasonable. $3.10 a gallon to split that firewood. So let's go back to our calculator. Gas, and again, that was just for the splitter. So you do the same thing for the chainsaw. It'll be different. You know, you're not putting a gallon in there. 30 ounces, 20 ounces, something like that. And then, unfortunately, you got to dump it back out to find out, get an accurate measurement. That's the only way to really do it. Maybe on the splitter, you could put a stick in there, but it's a waste of time. Just dump it out, measure it. It really only takes one time. You don't have to do this. You actually don't have to do this every time. I might even said that. You're pretty much going to use the same amount of fuel every time. So let's just say gas was, what was it, 310? Yeah. Gas, 310. And again, just if you do, let's say we added the 20 cents in for some gas for the chainsaw use or whatever. Okay. So that's going to do per cord. Anything entered in here is going to be based on per cord. All right. So where's our gas? $3.30 a cord. Okay. Now we're at $250.64 per cord over 100 cords, right? It's dividing it by 100. If we jack that up to 200, well, you can see what happens. Okay. But we have more raw material. Our raw material is double. No, I'm good. We can leave that. So we went from, because raw material is raw material, so that wouldn't change. But we went from 100 was 250 up to 200, which is now 231. Sorry, my eyes are getting sleepy. I've done this so many times. So we were at 250, and if we do 200 cords per year, we are now at 231. You're just splitting those costs over more cords. All right. Let's see here. Where are we at? We got gas. We got, again, you want to do chains would be the other thing most likely that you'd want to put in here. Now, let's say you get, and just take, how many cords do you do before you run out of chain, right? Before it's junk? Everybody's going to be different. All woods, you get an average. There's always an average. I don't care what anybody says. I have a friend that I asked, I said, how long does it take you? He's in a certain industry. I said, how long does it take you to do a job on average? And he said, there is no average. I'm like, there is an average. He's like, no. He's like, sometimes we get there and we're done in an hour, and sometimes it takes us 2 days. Well, okay, there's still an average, right? If you have a job and it takes 1 hour, and the next job takes 2 days, let's say 2 8-hour days. So it take 16. I can't do math. All right, first job takes 1 hour plus. Next time it takes 16 hours. Your next job equals 17 divided by 2. Your average job takes 8.5 hours. Now, you can see that the more data points, hopefully you can see that the more data points you have, the more accurate that is, right? That's not very accurate just because it's only 2 data points. If you had 100 in there, then you're more accurate. But anyway, there's always an average. It's a mathematical certainty. All right, but let's say every cord it costs. Let's say you can do 5. You have 2 chains. You got chainsaw chain. Well, we're not talking about processor. We're talking about splitter. So maybe $40 for a chain. You go to Lowe's, you get a $40 chain, and it lasts you 10 cords. Well, you just take. I'll bring the calculator back up. Maybe it lasts you 10 cords. You're not. I could be way off. Who cares? Whatever. It doesn't matter. $40 divided by 10 cords is $4 a cord. Okay. So you put a 4 in there, and now you have more accurate costs. So now you're at $254.64 to produce 1 cord of ready to deliver, ready to be picked up, whatever, firewood. And there's people selling it for $180. And we're using nothing special here. That raw material cost, right? It's a product business. Our highest cost is our raw materials. Labor is our second highest. What's our third highest? The chainsaw. It's only because these are kind of high just because we were very conservative that we're going to beat the daylights out of them over the course of 100 cords as homeowner grade machines. But maybe they won't even make that, maybe it'll make it 6 months. Everybody's different there too. I mean, you might get lucky and get a machine that just cranks. You might get You might not be lucky and you get the one that blows up in 6 months. You might take care of your equipment and it lasts 10 years. You might not take care of your equipment and it lasts 3 months. Heck, on the way home, you're towing it home and you forgot to latch the hitch and it falls off and you didn't think you needed safety chains and you lost the machine and now you got to go buy another one. So there's always so many variables. Okay, where are we at? We're finally at the fun part. We're going to find out how much money we're going to make, going to lose, how much we're selling cords for. Okay, so this is our cost. We're going to copy that per cord. Come down here to the revenue calculator and number of cords per year. We have 100, right? We're making 100. This does not update from up there. It's two separate things. So you got to make sure to update them. It's easy to forget. Number of cords a year, 100. In my area, they're selling them for 180. And their production cost is $254.64. So this is what I'm looking at. Selling cords for $180 using even just homeowners equipment, basic stuff. You're losing almost $7,500 a year. You can't go on like that. I wouldn't last a month. Anyway, so what do we need to sell them for to be profitable? Well, $254.65. This is now a profitable business. I hope you can't hear my chair squeaking. It seems it needs a little WD-40. This is a profitable business, number one. And you're like, whoop-de-doo. $1? What am I going to do with $1? Well, some people are selling for negative 7,000, negative monies. I sell 100 cords and I only make $1. Guess what? That's a profitable business. You know how many businesses out there are actually unprofitable? There's a ton. In fact, especially in the tech world, most of them are unprofitable. These big companies that come out, TikTok, right, in the news, they're probably not even profitable. I don't know. They actually might be. They're different. But, Facebook, when it came out, it wasn't profitable. Once you hit $1, you're profitable. You're like, $1, what am I going to do with that? That just means the business owners can't take a draw. If he does, he takes $1. Right? You're a business owner. The only way you pay yourself as a business owner in this type of business is you take an owner's draw, it's called. Okay? But don't forget, you're the owner operator. You're paying yourself $54.50 a cord. Not a penny more. Your penny more comes from here when you can take it. Okay? And, talk to your accountant and all that, but I believe you can take it anytime you want. It's just, it's a tax thing. You got to report it properly on your taxes and all that. But you want extra money, that's where it comes from. You want your fruits of your ownership labor, you're the brains behind the operation. You're most likely worth a whole lot more than this $25, $20 an hour labor. The brains behind the operation gets paid out of this. All right. So you did 100 cords at $54.50. I think we added extra in there, but I can't remember. Not too big of a deal. I think we did 25, but I can't remember. So I feel like it should simply come to me. But, because we did the time. That's right. We did all the time. So that's why it's $54.50. Because we use the average time to average time to produce the cord labor. But anyway, doesn't matter. You're getting $54.50. You're paying yourself $54. We'll just forget about the taxes for right now. It's not a huge deal. I mean, it can be, but it's be about a $300, $400, $500 difference. $54.50 times 100 cords. This is what you pay yourself as your own laborer, as your own employee. You give yourself $54.50 that year. And then if you're fortunate enough to have a profitable business, this is not profit. This is an expense. Just because you get it doesn't mean it's a profit. But if you are fortunate to have a green number down here, then you can take that. This money can also go into building your business, right? It can go into growing your business. You invest it back into the business. Okay, so we got that. Now, let's say we are in an area where $254 retail price for a cord is low, right? Let's say it's $325. Okay, so now still getting the same money from up here, the $54.50. You're paying yourself that as an employee, but now you have $7,000 in profit, $7,036 in profit. Well, now you can take maybe you take half of it. I know most people would be like, I got to take all of it. You know, got to pay the bills. I need this. I need that. I got to eat. Stuff's expensive now, and I understand that. I'm just giving you business basics. This is how business works. So now you come in here and you say, wow, dang, my $5,000, it could be part-time. You could be doing it part-time and you're happy with $5,450 for selling 100 cords. And you say, oh, damn, I got $7,036. I can take an owner's draw. I can take $3,500 out of that. And now I'm making almost $10,000, whatever it is. You know, I'll do the math. I'll do the calculation. So you got the $54.50 from your labor. Plus, you're taking an owner's draw of $3,500 for that year. You had a good, profitable year. And now you're at $89.50 for selling 100 cords. And maybe you do 1 cord a day, 100 days out of the year. Hey, that's not bad. Hey, that's pretty good for a hobby. You know, like if you say, hey, I like to do it, I enjoy it. Cool. And everybody else is getting $325 a cord around, you know, sell it for $325, and that's a pretty darn nice exercise payment. You know, everybody else is paying $40 a month to go to the gym, but you're getting paid $8,950 for your workout. Anyway. And so you just can play with this number all you want. If you could be in an area where you're getting $450 a cord. Okay? Same number up here, nothing changed. You're paying some labor, you know, an employee to do that. Well, maybe you give them a bonus. Maybe you're a nice guy and give yourself a bonus. Yeah, I'll give you a cut of the profits, you know, 10%, $1,900, whatever. But you can see that, you know, this is where you can really play with the numbers. You've got an accurate number here. Now you play with the numbers and see what you come up with. All right, so that's our, did I miss anything? I don't think so. I like to do this. I like to copy, just to check my work, my calculator. Okay, so I take this, I copy it. You got to watch out for old Chat GPT, but I like to do this. And I'm just going to do it while I'm on the video. Is this math accurate? Because I've tested this quite a bit, but I've made a lot of changes recently, and I just want to make sure everything is A-okay before I officially release this. All right. Math is accurate. If you sell 100 cords at $450 each, your gross revenue will be $45,000, and your profit after accounting for the production of $254.64 per cord will be $19,536. Is that what we got? Yes. Okay, cool. So the math is good. The computer calculations are correct. I did a good job. And again, you can mess with, you just click on it. I'll get 2 years out of that thing. Fine. Get 2 years out of it. And I don't know what did I just do? I didn't even see what it was before. It was 1950 a cord. And look, if you take care of your equipment, you're at 1050 a cord. You went down, was that $9 per cord? That's $900 because you take care of your equipment and it lasts 2 years instead of 1. That's a big difference. And by the way, I feel like I talk too much and I can just make a whole other video about a lot of these topics, but there are 3 ways to make more money in business. The first one, sell more, right? You sell 100 cords, you want to make more money, you sell 200 cords. Second way, raise your prices. Selling a cord for $250, sell it for $300. Automatically making more prices. Now, is it harder to sell more? Could be debatable in this industry. This is a little interesting of an industry where everybody just says they can sell every piece they got, which is cool, but that also means the price is probably too low for still. But that's a whole nother topic for sure. But in general, in business, it's harder to raise your prices and also sell more, right? You got to acquire more customers and you got to irritate your current customers with a price raise. So those are the two hardest ways out of the 3 ways to make more money in business. The third way, surprisingly, the easiest way, not the most exciting way or talked about, is simply to reduce costs. Every time you reduce costs, that money goes straight to this number, your bottom line. Okay? And it's easy. All you do is, you know what? QuickBooks, go to hell. I'll do my own books. I mean, I'm not saying do that. I'd rather have a software, but that money went, we'll go ahead and change our cost per cord, right? We canceled QuickBooks. I don't need that. And now look, we're at $20,535 profit, just like that. You didn't have to do nothing but go online and click the cancel button. I'm not saying do that, but insurance is a good example. All around every year, January 1st, January 2nd, party's over. All insurance guy. Oh, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're paying $750 a year. We got this new product, $700 a year, save $50. That $50 goes straight there, right to your pocket if you choose to. So that's the third way to make more money in business. And the easiest way is to save on expenses. Obviously, you can't go too crazy. And you'll see another example of that I just realized in kind of this next area. All right, let's go to our next example. Hopefully I can make it quick. This is a lot. This is crazy. Probably been an hour and a half by now. I don't know. All right, let's go to a growth. We're going into growth mode now. What does that mean? Well, that means we're going to buy some equipment. Our favorite thing to do. And this is what we're buying. Why this machine? I like the red color. I like that Mr. Joe from Ohio Woodburners speaks highly of this company. Not too thrilled about the manual saw, but whatever. We're going to use it for this example. We don't have a tractor. We're going to need the engine. We're going to need a log lift to get the logs up on the darn thing. And we're going to try not to spend too much more money. And what I like about this company is they actually show their prices. They have a nice website. I like this website. I can foresee myself buying something from them eventually. All right, we got $25,000 or $24,500. We got taxes, freight, maybe you're going to pick it up. You got diesel fuel, whatever. Let's just say $26,000 for this processor. Where are we at here? All right, so let's go add a piece of equipment. Processor. Purchase cost I forgot what I said, 26,000. Annual maintenance, that thing's probably gonna, you don't have to count bars, you don't have to count chains necessarily because you could put those in other. But let's just say $300 in maintenance. You could change this, change that, hydraulic fluid, blah, 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 blah. Breakdowns, you can include, like, I better put away for some breakdowns. Expected lifespan, I think something like that, doing 100 cords a year, I'm going to take a guess that thing will last a long time. Let's put 10 years. After you're done with it and you say, you know what, it's been 10 years, I've had this processor, it's been good to me, I'm going to buy another one, bigger one, make more wood. Okay? And you go and sell this to a nice guy like me looking for a startup piece of equipment, and you sell it for $5,000. Okay? So now we got $24 per cord. So our cost went way up. Right? We're at $268. Right? But what the heck would you buy a processor for? You're not going to make more. So we go to cords per year and we can say, man, I can easily double my output. Right? And now we're down to 241. So we do have, we went down on the splitter, right? Did we go down? Actually, no, we didn't. This splitter is going to last a long time if we're not beating the crap out of it. So we're going to say we're going to get 6 years out of this thing. Now we're down to 225 there and 12 here. And before, I think we're at 1950, I think. And we had, what did we have? We had 1 year. Was it 1 year? 975. So it was 950. Something was 1950, but it doesn't matter. So yeah, so originally let's say we're at 950, whatever. But now this thing's going to last 5 years or whatever I just put. And that dropped that way down, right? So even though you bought a processor, your cost didn't even really go up that much, $3 or whatever it is, because now this lasts longer. And honestly, this is going to last longer too, because now you're not having the processor's doing all that work. This saw is just there for when you need it. So this thing might last you 5 years now. And it drops it from 5 something to 165 a cord. And now you see how the processor, because it can produce more, lasts longer. These things will last longer. And I don't remember what our original, it was right around 237 maybe. I think this dropped. I'm not 100%. I don't remember what the figure was when we first did it. But you can see how a processor can actually, where it seems it would increase costs, it actually can decrease costs, which is incredible, right? And that's paying for that thing out of pocket. You cash money. Now, if you can't do that, let's say you can't do that, right? Let's take it out. Just so you know, this can be used like this calculator. Let's say you, let me check, give me 1 second. Okay. What are we doing? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pull up the calculator again that I couldn't remember why I pulled it up. I got distracted, but we're going to pull up the calculator and just had to yawn. We're going to pull up the calculator and say, okay, $26,000. But, they had this fancy sign outside that said, 0% interest for 5 years. Okay. I'm taking you up on that. Take you up on 0% interest all day long. Whole nother video there too, but not saying go into debt, but 0% interest is awesome. Let's go back to ChatGPT. And let's type this in. Oh, I could have went here and found my old numbers. $254.64 was our production cost. But look how much we went down buying the processor. I think we saved on our insurance, maybe a couple dollars or whatever we did, but the biggest cost, the biggest change we made was the processor. So we actually, looks like we drastically reduced it. So it's pretty cool to see how actually buying an expensive piece of equipment can actually reduce your cost. All right. We're going back to ChatGPT. Okay. I need to buy a Firewood. I don't have to do all this. I could just type in the numbers, but it's more fun. Processor. I'm trying to be a little bit cleaner than I normally am. It is $26,000. I'll say USD so it doesn't get confused. USD. 0% financing for 5 years. What? Yeah, I'm so stupid. 0% finance, I could just do 26,000 divided by 60. What is monthly payment? Sometimes I do things that I don't need to do. But you could, again, the point was that you could use this to say, oops, just kidding. Interest is 7%. Just so you can see that you can use ChatGPT for this kind of thing. You don't even have to, none of this. You don't need none of it. All right, 512. Let's use the big number. Let's use 512.37 a month. Okay. So you can take this and add it. I haven't done this yet. It should work just fine. Where are we going to add this? Overhead? Yeah, monthly, right? Okay. Processor payment, 512.37, and that is monthly. This should work. Let's see what it says. I haven't done this. 3074 a cord. All right, let's check. Let's just make sure it is right. I'm going to copy that. Back to Chatty GPT. Does this sound right for 100 cords per year? Cost per cord to finance? Just making sure. I could do the math, but I don't want to. Let's check. Financing cost per cord. All right, so 512 times 12, that's right. That makes sense. 6148. 6148, we're doing, oh, did we do 200 cords a year? Is that what's set on? Yeah, that's set on 200. Okay, that's why. It is correct. Where do we go? I forgot that we'd see. If I don't pay attention to that, because I said, well, yeah, okay. Sorry. Oops, again. 200 cords per year, which is going to be right, because 3074 must be half of 6148. So nice. No problem. Let's adjust. All right. So 3074 per cord is right. Excellent. The calculator works perfectly. Just user error. Okay. So we better update this because I forget that a lot. I really tried to make it populate automatically, but it gave me a fit. All right. Processor payment 3074 a cord. And, just a side note, like you can leave that in there. You can say, well, it'll be paid off in 5 years, so it'll change. Yeah, it will. Or you can take this 3074 a cord, and when your processor payment is done, when it's paid off, you can now put that in a savings account. So when it's time to go buy a new processor, you have at least that money ready to go. And then you sell your other processor, you know what I mean? And take the money from that and you go buy a bigger processor. Or you just finance it. All right, where are we at? Raw materials, splitter, chainsaw, insurance, processor. So you can see how you can put a payment under this overhead entry thing, and it will work for that. So what are we at? We're at 254.34, which is, I think, right about where we were. Clicking the wrong buttons. That's where we were before. Um, 254.64 on our first. Was that our first one? Yeah. So originally we're at 254 a cord. And now we're at 254.34 a cord. Wow. Let me double check. Wasn't 254.34, was it? 254, we're at 30 cents. By buying a processor, we saved 30 cents a cord. By buying a nice entry level processor, we saved money. Because we saved on our splitter, lasts longer, chainsaw lasts longer, and whatever else. Okay, so we're at 200 cords a year, 254.34 in this example. And there you go. You can already see you selling it for $4.50 a cord. You are same labor, unless you give a raise. Maybe you give a little bit of a raise here, $5 an hour, a couple dollars an hour for your labor, because now you got a serious piece of equipment. It's not a chainsaw and a cheap splitter anymore. It's something that is a serious piece of equipment, needs to be taken care of, needs more focus, needs safety and all that. I don't know. Chainsaw might be more dangerous, but anyway, you get the point. So now you're making your $54.50, right? And since you're producing more wood, definitely can produce more than that. Now you're making $40,000 almost in profit, your business profit. So maybe you take 30 out of that, and you add in your 54, and now you're at 35,000 a year for 200 cords. We're in a higher cost cord area for sure, but you just work the numbers. Say, I'm never going to get that. Fine, 325, and there's your numbers. Take it all. Rob the business if you want. It's not, people do it every day, and that's only 200 cords a year. You should be able to do that easily. So now you say, all right, well, I can only get 325 a cord in my area, but now you can do 400 cords. Okay, so now you have your 54, give yourself a raise, maybe you got $6,000-$7,000 for labor, and you have your 28, you rob your business blind, and you got 28,000, and 28,264 plus your labor, 54.50. Let's say you give yourself a little raise and you get 6,500 for your labor because you got that machine, make back to almost $35,000. The point is not whether or not that's enough to live on. The point is, number one, how are people selling wood for $180 a cord? And number two, they're not pricing it right, but I forget number two. But number two is, this is a profitable business. This is something to be proud of. Honestly, this is something to be very proud of. If you're putting in, and to be honest, I didn't even account for your labor. You're going to actually go down in cost for labor, which only means that labor is going to go into the bottom line. So you can still get it as the business owner, but your labor is going to drop pretty drastically, I would think, it should, or else what's the point? But your labor per cord it might drop down to 40, so you say, okay, that's 40. Let's do 44.50 just so I can do easy math. That's $10. You save $10 per cord in labor for getting the more productive machine, and that goes right to here. That's 10 times 400 is $4,000. So you got another. You got to update. You got to make sure you update that bottom one. If something doesn't look right, it didn't update. Now it's $32,000. That savings, remember, like I said, that's the easiest way to make money in business. Increase your profit is save money in your costs, and that goes straight. It literally goes straight to your bottom line. You don't have to get more customers for that. I mean, obviously, you have to get the initial new customers to sell more cords, or maybe you don't. Maybe they're ready. They're ready for it. They're asking you. They're begging you. All right. I hope that helped. I have one more example to go through, I'm going to do a separate video on this, self-sourcing your wood. If you are going out there and cutting it down, I'm going to do a separate video just for time's sake. My wife's going to be home soon, so I'm going to get another interruption. Got to eat, all that stuff. But I am going to quickly talk about delivery thoughts and then tell you how to access the calculator. My thoughts on delivery, I think I've already said it, but it's a whole nother business. You have to think about it as we literally only just did a processing business, a product business. You're taking a raw product and you're making it to a finished product, and that's it, right? And you're making, now we're making pretty decent money for that, right? 30, whatever it was, 32,000. We've gone through our growth stage. We're in it. So we haven't even included delivery. Now, at minimum, you should break even on your delivery. The business should break even on the delivery. You should be paid the market rate for the labor you do, right? So if you're getting paid, you're going to be doing, you're doing both delivery and processing. You're getting paid $20-25 an hour, whatever it is. You have to, that's a cost. You have to calculate that cost, the business cost of paying that laborer, which may be you, to go do the deliveries. I would argue that, well, first of all, cords should be paid piecework. Cost for production. Shouldn't be paying hourly to do that. You should come up with your payment amount, right? Let's say you pay $40 a cord to process it. So you hired somebody, you're sitting on the couch watching soap operas, and you got somebody out there, high school kid, whatever, splitting the wood, and you're paying $40 a cord, split, stack it, whatever. You just derive that number from the hours that we did before. We had 10 entry points. We had all those hours. We got our average. So the best way to pay for that, by far, it's an excellent business to use piecework pay, production style pay. Excellent business. Delivery, the way I look at it is everybody's delivery price is different. And there's thought behind it. There's mathematical equations behind it. I think most people I see are just like, I'll $20 or 30, whatever the number is, $30 within 15 miles, or $20 in this town, $30 in that town, $40 if you live outside of that area, whatever. That's probably the most common things I've seen. And you can do that as long as you're getting paid for it every time. I don't even really believe that. Let's say you have a $50 flat delivery fee, no matter, up to 30 miles. Well, that person that lives 30 miles away is paying $30, and the person that lives 5 miles away is also paying $30. So that is what's the word I'm looking for? There's a term for it. Give me a minute. Take a drink of water. Zero-sum game. Does that make sense? Basically, for someone to win, someone else has to lose. So the person paying $30 for 30 or whatever, $50 for, I don't remember what I said. The flat fee that's 30 miles away, the max, they're winning. The person that lives 5 miles away that still has to pay the same amount is losing. So to me, it's, somebody has to lose for somebody else to win. They don't know it. Nobody knows it. Nobody cares. Nobody's saying anything about it, but this is just the way I think about it. But what I think is, and I won't go into that, but what I think is you should have, one, you have to account for your truck, your trailer, whatever you use to deliver, dump truck, pickup truck with a trailer, or just your pickup truck, bed, whatever. that has to be accounted for. If you use it for personal and for business, which I'm assuming many people do, you have to figure out a price, a cost for your business, right? If I have a truck and my truck payment's $500 a month, personal, and my business uses it exactly half the time, right? So, let's say you put 10,000 miles on a year total. Personal 5,000, business 5,000. Well, the business better be paying $250 towards my monthly truck note, right? So that's just one way to do it. You have mileage based. How much does it cost per mile to run your truck and trailer? Come up with a figure. It's not impossible. It just takes a little bit of work, a little bit of math. I looked up the other day. I looked up how much does it cost to run a tractor trailer. That's just because I'm trying to figure out this stuff for my business. I'm not just making this for other people. I made this for myself and just figured I could use it for other reasons. I could also help people and, again, use it as a way to get interested people's emails on other things I'm doing. But I looked it up for myself. I think it was a pretty recent article. It was like, finally, trucks hit $2 a mile in cost. So, tractor trailers, obviously. So that's the cost to operate the truck per mile. So, well, I'm not, if I'm driving a 3/4 ton truck with a dump trailer, I'm probably not going to have the same costs, right? It's probably not going to be $2 a mile. Is it going to be $1 a mile? I don't know. I think everybody loves the $1 a mile because it's just easy. We love round numbers. It's probably $1 a mile 20 years ago, right? So maybe it's $1.50, maybe it's $1.30. I'm not going to make a calculator for that. I'll be here making calculators for the rest of my life if I keep it up. All you got to do is, maintenance, the cost of the vehicle, depreciation. Same thing we did like for the log split, the log splitter, that category, except, you want to come up with a per mile basis, and then you charge the customer either per mile cost. I don't know why you would do that, but per mile cost, you could. Per mile cost plus the labor, which means you have to know the drive time. Okay. So if you have 10 miles away, 10-mile drive time, $20 an hour. You got 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back, it's 20 minutes, a couple minutes to dump the load. Let's just say 20 minutes. So you've paid your labor cost on that. Let's say we're at $20 an hour for labor, times what is that? Is that 0.33333333? 20 minutes? 20, 40, 60. That's a third of an hour, right? Could have picked a better number, but let's just say that. Right? Oh boy. It's not the number you want to see, but 6. So let's just say you have $7 in labor costs for your labor to go deliver that. So you have 7. You have 10 miles there. So let's say 10 miles there. You got 10 miles back. Whoops. We can all do that. We'll do it. 10. You got a 20-mile round trip. And let's say you're charging $1.30 per mile. That's your cost, not charging. That's your cost. Now you have 26. Okay. It costs you $26 to deliver it, plus just the vehicle wear and tear, the trailer, and I could be off on that. Maybe it's 90 cents. I have no idea. Plus your $7 for labor. So you have a cost already of $33 to deliver 10 miles away. It's not free coming back. That's still a cost. You don't have to charge the customer for the trip back or whatever, but you got to know your cost. So, that's one way to think about deliveries. So now you're like, okay, well, I'm in business to not break even, right? If you just charge $33 for that delivery, I'm in business to just not break even. I'm here to make a profit. That's the point. So let's do 33. And let's just say, I'm a nice guy. I just charge 10% for my delivery. Okay, so now you got $3.30 the business is making. Whoops. We don't need all that. We just need the 330. So you got $3.30 the business is making on one 10-mile round trip, one delivery. So now let's just say for easy math, you're doing that 400 cords a year, okay? Times 400. Let's see, every customer orders just one cord and that's it. Every trip is one cord. Every trip is 10 miles because you're going to have an average there too. So you can technically eventually figure out that, but not a big deal. So that's another $1,320 profit down here. That number would go here. It would add into there, right? Because you've already paid out the, we've already accounted for the cost, right? The hourly pay, the vehicle wear and tear, and all that. So that profit, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's going straight to the business profit, bottom line. And that's a whole separate business. That's why I'm not putting anything in here for that, because I just wanted to show how that's a separate business. Raw material, I'm going to go over in a different video. It's going to take me too long. Bundle calculator, I just made today. Premium calculator, I just made today. I'll just show it real quick. It's just very simple, and I'll do another video on it, but it's just showing you how much more you'll make per cord if you use a markup on like fractional cords. So if you sell a cord for, $300, but you want to have that smaller package premium pricing, you can enter your markup, and it'll kind of give you an idea of how much more you'll make when you do that, which I think is pretty interesting. The bundle calculator, kind of similar, just tells you how much more you make if you bundle. Calculate raw material. Easy is just a simple math equation. How many hours does it basically take you to produce one raw cord of wood, like one enough wood to make one cord of firewood, and what you want to get paid for that if you're the guy going out and doing that work. And it'll give you I'll just show you hours to produce. Let's see, on average, it takes you 4 hours to produce enough wood to make one cord of firewood, and you pay yourself $30 an hour because that's a different skill level. Now your labor cost is $120 per cord for that. So that's what you would sell it to yourself for. So you would go up here and you would you'd put one, and you'd put 120 because you just made one cord of wood and you paid 120 for it. And that's one way that's the easy way to give yourself something for your time. You're selling this wood back to your firewood business. That's a way to account for your time. So you're not doing free work, exercise, hobby, whatever. You don't have to call it that. You know what you're making. You know what you're worth. You know what you're paying yourself. And no, you don't pay yourself $100 an hour for this work. You have to pay yourself what anybody else would expect to get paid. And yes, you can be the business owner and the employee of the logging business. You could be the business owner and the employee of the firewood processing business, and you could be the business owner and employee of the firewood delivery business. On paper, if you got all that down, if you got these numbers, you're freaking golden. Golden. And like I said, I believe this is the best firewood video that is probably ever made. Firewood business video that's ever made. I haven't really looked that much, but I've seen enough YouTube to know there's not a whole lot of business videos on there. And it's going to be the best one on YouTube probably forever. I promise. And if you made it this far, congratulations. I think you're serious about business. If you didn't make it this far and turned it off and don't plan to come back, well, you can't hear me now. That's your loss. Okay. What was the one other thing? Oh, calculate raw material labor hard. It's not hard to do, but it's just more complex than if you just kind of did the easy way, which is just take 10 times down. How long does it take you? Blah, blah, blah. Take an average. I'm saying blah, 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 because I will go over it in another video. This just allows you to do the same thing, but it's the calculation part too. So it's, well, actually, the way I actually did it was, it will, instead of kind of guessing over here, it will help you get these numbers accurate. It'll do the calculations for you basically, so you don't have to use your calculator. So let me go back here real quick. Thank you so much for listening. I am now going to tell you how to get the calculator. And let's see. I'm going to go to the firewoodmillionaire.com. You can't see it just because of the way my screen recorder is, but I promise you it is, oh, sorry, did I say the Firewood? It's just firewoodmillionaire.com. Put your email address in. I want to put something funny in because I know I'm going to get a few, but I'm going to just do test@gmail.com. This will just go to me. I'll see your email and I will use it to let you know about some other things I'm doing. And maybe if I do an episode on this channel, I don't know. Probably not. It's too much work for me. And you will see that you can move around here. This is something new. Whoops. This is something new here that I just did. If you happen to go to Premium Calculator and you're doing some things in here, and you want to go back to the calculator, it's going to actually save. I had it to where it wasn't saving everything. So I've changed that. So when you go to these other calculators, you won't lose all your inputs. So again, firewoodmillionaire.com. Hope you like the name. Did I spell it right? I feel like I can't. I don't have my glasses on. Yeah. Firewoodmillionaire.com. Put your email in and you'll get the calculator. Thank you so much for listening. If anybody, is here at this point, if you did, you made out like a bandit because, in my opinion, this video and calculator is worth way more than an email. It's crazy. I truly believe that. It is probably worth $1,000. Giving it away for free. Just an email. That's all I need. Hopefully you'll give me the right one. If you're serious about business and you did make it this far, you probably will give it because you will want to see what I'm doing. All right. That's it. Thanks.